face-off that day is at 80 million views. So if there was a pre-existing injury, somebody would have noticed it. He was limping, put his shoes on, he ran right at him. I don't think there was. Anything is possible, but he sure didn't look like it. And for 80 million just on my accounts, that number's got to be massive. Nobody noticed anything, so there you go. You know, the minute you start talking or thinking about retiring, you absolutely positively should. I haven't heard that from him yet, but, you know, he hasn't spoke publicly yet. We'll see what he has to say.
And if he comes out and says, look, I want to run it back, would you guys be open to that?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. There's a lot of unanswered questions right now that will play out over the next several days. And that's why I don't come into these things and start, you know, talking about the future. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, tonight, tomorrow, and, you know, Monday. And then we'll get back in the office on Tuesday. And it's not even worth talking about right now.
Dana White has finally addressed what happened. And the biggest conversation coming out of UFC 329 is no longer about who officially won the fight. It is about whether Conor McGregor may have competed inside the octagon for the final time. Another crushing injury brought his long-awaited return to a sudden halt, instantly shifting the entire MMA world's attention from the result to his uncertain future. Joe Rogan has explained the sequence that appeared to cause the injury. Several prominent UFC fighters have offered their reactions, and supporters are sharply divided over what should happen next for one of the most influential and recognizable stars in combat sports history.
The first time I thought he just slipped. It's hard to tell. It's wild. It's in the moment. I thought he slipped. And then when he got up and he threw a kick again, I'm like, oh, I don't like how his leg just gave out. That didn't seem like, and I'm still hoping he's just slipping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's just freaking out because he hasn't been in the octagon in 5 years. And then he started moving around and he like grabbed his knee and buckled.
Okay.
And there was some conversation.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was some conversation going on between him and Max Holloway. And I was like, you know, Max is saying he can't fight, like something's wrong. And he's saying, fight me. He's like, get up. And so he lets him up, and then his knee buckles, and then the referee stops the fight.
Conor McGregor surfacing online, and it was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Conor. 38 years young. Here he is with his wife, Dee, seemingly in good spirits.
Happy birthday.
We'll be back.
It matches your outfit, even.
We'll be back. Come on.
It's okay.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We'll be back. Let's go. Let's go. I know.
Here you go. He seems to be in good spirits. He seems to be happy. He says that he is going to be back, which is probably the most, the most important nugget of it all there. He seems to be grounded. Who knows? It's a 30-second video. I saw some people breaking down, whether or not this means it's this kind of injury, that kind of injury, including our pal Dr. Suterer, who said this on Twitter when he saw the video. Lack of brace, assuming he didn't just take it off for the video, means no high-grade collateral ligament injury, MCL/LCL, means nothing about ACL and meniscus. Range of motion being at least 90 degrees of flexion and looking relatively comfortable is good. How he took all that away from that video, I have no idea, but that's because he's probably way smarter than you and I.
White was among the first major figures required to discuss the incident, admitting how difficult it was to watch an enormous event conclude in such an abrupt and disappointing fashion. The ending was not merely frustrating for the UFC, it was painful for the athletes, the audience, and especially McGregor, who had invested an extraordinary amount of time and effort into making his return possible. As the initial shock began to fade, however, the conversation expanded far beyond the injury. The central question became unavoidable. Can McGregor realistically complete another rehabilitation and launch one more comeback? That is where opinions begin to separate. Some supporters insist this setback changes nothing. They point to the obstacles McGregor has already confronted, and believe he will approach this challenge with the same confidence and determination that helped transform him into the UFC's biggest attraction. Other observers are much less optimistic. From their perspective, another extended recovery period at this point in his career creates legitimate doubts about how many top-level performances he could still produce, even if he is physically capable of returning.
I'll exchange with him and he'd shoot in. What's happened? Oh my God, McGregor's done already? Well, he's finished. The new boy is in town. The main man's here. Know what I mean? I can become the face of the organisation now. But, yeah, great. What a performance from me. Don't want to blow smoke up my own ass, but what a performance.
As I said on Monday, I really do believe he's going to fight again. And I believe the mindset around the team right now is, all right, we talked about obstacles. We talked about overcoming obstacles. This is another one, and we're going to try to overcome it. And so I don't think, look, you never know what can happen. But I don't think in his mind that was his last fight. I don't think he wants it to be his last fight. And I think, he's going to have probably surgery and then recovery and then come back and give it a go. The question, whenever, and we don't have to deliberate this for the next freaking 365 days, but who would they book him against? You see people saying Chandler. If I had a vote, it would be Chandler. 1,000% it would be Chandler. If I had a vote, I don't think it will be Chandler, especially if it's his last fight going into free agency. They're just not going to do it. A year from now, Chandler's older. God knows what he'll do between now and then. It just ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. I could see the Holloway one, but I could also see some people feeling like, we just went through that. Thanks, but no thanks. The whole landscape could be different between now and then. But I think he wants to fulfill that last deal, and then I think he wants to test free agency. As of right now, we don't know the extent of the injury. Hopefully we'll get more word on that. They're keeping their lips pretty tight at the moment. And I can understand that, but it was good to get some kind of update.
With McGregor already coming back from years outside active competition, a fresh injury could mean another long stretch away from the cage, naturally fueling questions about whether the UFC will reconsider its future plans for him. A separate theory spreading across social media suggests McGregor might have felt pain or discomfort before the bout began. That claim has circulated rapidly, but it remains fan speculation rather than confirmed information. McGregor has directly dismissed the suggestion, maintaining that he entered the octagon healthy and that the injury happened without warning. Rogan also focused on the physical mechanics of the moment, instead of presenting it as an unexplained mystery. According to his analysis, the awkward kick, the position of McGregor's planted foot, and the twisting pressure placed on the leg seem to combine in exactly the wrong way. In mixed martial arts, a single movement lasting less than a second can redirect an entire contest and potentially alter the course of a fighter's career. Reactions from across the UFC arrived almost instantly. John Jones reflected on how suddenly circumstances can change during a fight, and emphasized the unforgiving nature of competing at the highest level.
The fans are annoyed. He probably just wants to get out of there straight away, doesn't he?
I thought he was just slipping. He just wants to get out. Mate, I've injured my knee in there. It's horrible.
It is what it is. I bet you when he ran into that kick, he probably broke his shit. Well, those guys just made the easiest paycheck of their lives.
All right, so let down in Sin City last night. So much expectation didn't come to fruition. It's early in the morning, so I'm heading back to the Bay. It's like somebody broke into my house on Christmas morning and took my gift. I discussed that and more in my live reaction from Octagon side. UFC 329 was a great night, but the main event, that sucked. 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific at my YouTube channel. Don't miss it.
Tom Aspinall discussed the harsh reality athletes face when months of preparation can be erased in one unexpected moment, while Paddy Pimblett acknowledged how heartbreaking it was to see such a heavily anticipated return end before the audience could properly evaluate McGregor's performance. Alexander Volkanovski similarly highlighted MMA's unpredictability, and numerous other fighters expressed sympathy for both men after the contest reached such an unsatisfying conclusion. The greatest source of frustration may be that the actual fight has nearly disappeared from the discussion. Instead of analyzing what unfolded competitively, people keep returning to unanswered possibilities. What might have happened without the injury? Could McGregor have maintained the intensity and aggression he showed early? Would Max Holloway's pressure and pace have gradually shifted control of the contest? Were viewers only moments away from witnessing one of the most remarkable comeback performances in UFC history? There is no reliable way to answer any of those questions now. The focus has moved completely toward McGregor's rehabilitation and the decision awaiting him afterward. Should his recovery progress successfully, will the UFC immediately arrange another appearance? Would a second opportunity against Holloway become the clearest and most compelling option?
So he throws the kick. Again, I know you'll be saying I'm reading a lot into this in the comments, but just look. boom, and then it's like a little stumble back. Like, it's not conclusive proof that there was anything wrong, but it's not McGregor at 100% either. Like, that doesn't look great. And then the third time he throws it on the footage, boom, and then he walks away. So we don't actually see McGregor in full flow, like kick, 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 like hammering the pads, or it's almost like, and I'm not saying that this is the case because it's hard to know, when they needed their footage, he's like, all right, let me do the kick I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, potentially that's possible. Because this kick and then him walking off doesn't prove he was fine to me. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he threw the kick on the pads. Aye. And then he walked away immediately. Like, he did 3. It's very possible that there was a tear that was bad enough to not be able to win a fight, but that he was still able to pretend for a minute. Very possible. Fighters have done this for time, by the way.
Had the man weak in the knees, I guess. So, all jokes aside, I just hope he's good. I know Conor been battling some stuff. Looked like he really been changing. He found God. He had his kids in there. So, during the fight, you could obviously tell his demeanor changed, And I was, shout out to the ref. I was trying to tell the ref sooner, like this guy's kids is front row, I don't want to see him take unnecessary damage.
Or will McGregor look at everything he has already accomplished and decide that this injury marks the moment to finally leave competition behind? Regardless of the path he chooses, the consequences of this comeback will continue long after the brief time he spent fighting. McGregor's return may have ended within moments, yet its aftermath has developed into one of the UFC's most significant stories of the year. Dana White's public response, Rogan's technical explanation, the emotional reactions from fighters throughout the roster, and the non-stop arguments among fans have ensured that the subject is nowhere near finished. Until McGregor publicly reveals whether he intends to recover, compete again, pursue a rematch, or close this chapter of his career, the entire mixed martial arts world will remain watching.